further, and I'm sharing the screen once again with each one of you so that we know where we have left in my last this thing. And here you will see that after understanding those 5 steps and how these 5 elements have not been discussed, and try to understand Frege, Russell, the chronology in which the the entire discussion is taking place for us. On one side, we see Frege, mathematician and a logician, coming, and how he has started off writing the paper on sense and reference. On the other hand, Russell, definitely, yes, he's more of a philosopher and less of a, I should say, mathematician as well as the logician. However, the manner he discusses also does not, inculcate all these kind of, points that we have discussed. However, the moment we come over to Austin, which I really like this book, however, the manner he is connecting out his concepts of various things, he started off his intellectual pursuit in a very nice manner. However, there are still loopholes that we are able to see them. Whereas if I come to Nyaya school, because I have read Nyaya Sutras, Jayant Bhatt's Nyaya Manjari, which I really like it a lot. And once I'm picking up with this textbook on Nyaya Siddhanta Muktavali, I see that, yes, the logical tools that they are talking about, and that also in such a depth. Now, in the other 3 Western philosophers, we have seen that they have taken certain things for granted and they never questioned it. However, here, the question is not in that manner at all. They have really gone ahead, taken pain to make you understand. See, and this book, we know when it was written, Nyaya Sutras, and we will see, I'll share it later on, the centuries when these books were written, and you will understand the importance of all these things also side by side. Now here, proceeding further, apart from these 5 elements, they, one more thing that we need to focus upon is truth. Truth is again common in all the 3 philosophers from the Western domain, and now we will have to look from the Nyayika's point of view. Now here, you will see that they are talking about what we call it as the truth, and here you will see that the truth in Nyaya inference that they're talking about moves from particular to particulars through universal. Now, this is something that is the most fascinating thing for me, and I am definitely going to highlight it and increase the font so that you are able to understand the importance of the truth in Nyaya inference. So again, I'm reiterating myself, truth in Nyaya inference moves from particular to particular. Now, you see, you are doing logic, you are getting the first-hand experience that, moving from particular to particular, you are starting off your first premise with there is or something is, and you conclude in the conclusion saying that, yes, this is where, this is also particular. When I'm talking of particular, you start off with I proposition, you end with either I proposition or O, depending upon what exactly you are looking forward. However, in Western philosophy also, I mean, Kopi or Tarski or the other philosophers that you are touching upon, you have seen the manner they are taking. However, if I have A or E proposition and moving towards the I or O proposition was easy. However, if I move from I or O to A and E, it was very difficult for me. So how do you understand these things coming in? Whereas the most particular and thing that really fascinated me in logic is that they are moving from particular to particular. Why not from universals? Reason, we haven't experienced everything. And why not my conclusion in universal? I haven't experienced everything. So the common sense tells you start off with particular, come to particular. When I say come to, conclude with the particular. And through these processes, how are you working? You're working through the presence of universals. Now, isn't that the fascinating thing? And this is the main contribution of Nyaya philosophy in philosophy of language, as well as the understanding of the entire knowledge system which is existing for us. The next one that you will be seeing is the characteristics of hetu, that is the middle term. It must be present in the minor term. These are the assumptions, and without these assumptions you cannot proceed further. You need to see these assumptions, and what are they? Number one, again I'm telling you, it must be present in the minor term. Then it is called as sapaksha sattva, first one, vipaksha sattva, and then we have got abhadita and aviruddha. Now I'm not going to discuss these things because I'm not supposed to discuss, and it is not part of our syllabus also. However, good to know information, that's why I recommended CD Sharma. He discusses all those things. However, for me, coming in, if I have to see whether there are certain fallacies which are taking place, and they have going to discuss this thing in the book also, so that is the reason why I wanted. And in Indian logic, remember that fallacy is hetva bhasha. It means middle term appears, okay, to be reason, but it is not a valid reason. Remember this thing, it is of 5 kinds, and I'm just reading it very quickly. Asiddha or sadhya sama, it is divided into 3 parts. What are they? Ashraya siddhi. What is ashraya, Lena? Supporting. Okay, swarupa siddhi, giving it absolutely clear as it is. Then vyaptya siddhi, that is it is existing, it's like a presence that you can feel and you can understand. And these are how the arguments are constructed which are missing, remember. And that's why I have given to you immediately the terminologies in Hindi, I mean the Sanskrit way, the way they have written it out, so that you can use them in your own writings also. Now here then they're talking about another variety of the fallacy, which fallacies in Kopi's book, you can read it, and here there are some other things also which are not present in the Western philosophy. The next one is Savyabhichari. It is also divided into 3 parts. The Vyabhichari is like a prostitute, and that's why they have used, which take it in that not the literal sense, I would say, however in the context in which they are trying to understand that yes, these two are there, or you can call it as the indirect effect also, side by side. And what are they? Sadharana, then asadharana, anupa, samhari, and then you have got sat pratipaksha, then bhadita, and then viruddha. Now viruddha is going against something completely, okay. So when you are talking about these things, you will not be able, no, these are all the formulae which are present and given to us by the Nyaya school. Gautama speaks of 3 kinds of inference because he is the person who came up with the Nyaya Sutras. So we need to focus on him. Now, first of all, what is it? Purvavat, based on causation. Okay, then he talks about Sheshavat, caused on again causation also. Then Samanyato Drishta, based on mere coexistence. When you are seeing and you say, okay, whenever I see this thing, then the other thing is also present. Let's take the example of the most common one, that smoke and fire. There you are able to see that wherever the smoke is there, you understand that yes, fire is also existing. However, now the context have changed, wherein it's not necessary that whenever you see a smoke, there has to be a fire, or wherever there is a fire, there is a smoke. So how? In microwaves you are able to and understand it. Then, kindly keep yourself on mute, I would request you. Then comes another classification of inference, and that comes into 3 parts again. What is it? That is nothing but Kevalya Vai, then Kevalya Vyatireki, and then Anvyaya Vyatireki. So these are another 3. Siri Sharma book really encapsulate. I'm just trying to prepare those diagrams for you, and most probably tomorrow I would be able to share it to each one of you, and then you will be able to understand as to how these things are also being connected to each other. Then the next one that we are coming up is verbal testimony. Now, the first topic is that only for you, that is nature of verbal knowledge, and there we have seen what is the role. So here the verbal testimony, okay, is of two kinds. One is Vedika, and the other is the secular one. What is Vedika and what is the secular one? Vedika is something like somebody is an expert and he's giving it away, or she is giving it away. Whereas secular is, again, remember why I have written this thing. Now, even Austin is discussing the same thing. One, he talks about, think about the experts which are existing in the institutions, that's where, and we did it in the last lectures also. Secular, which is common to all, which is informal by nature, which are not institutionalized. So these are again the same thing that you are able to see in Nyaya philosophy. However, see the richness and the robustness with which they are discussing. There are a certain conditions for verbal testimony. What are they? Akanksha or expectancy is present, and this is part of your examination also, and very important, and that's why I picked up yogyata or non-contradictory. That means when I see the connection, if I see a plate in front of me, I'm supposed to understand how it is a plate before I can say this is plate. What are the things which are present for me and they're not contradicting? For example, if I see a rope and I say, oh, it's a snake, then it's a contradiction because I have misunderstood a rope to be a snake. Okay, so those are the ones. Sannidhi and the continuity. Okay, so plate for me is always the plate. Now I don't have to. Now, you see, this continuity factor has not been discussed in any of the three Western philosophers that we have done. Then comes Tatparya, which is Tatparya. Usually, the colloquial, whether it is in I would say Kannada language or even in the Hindi language, iska Tatparya ye hai. We are not talking in terms of intention. We say that, okay, I'm summarizing it, iska तात्पर्य ये है, ऐसा है करके हम आगे बढ़ते हैं. Whereas here he is literally given us the true meaning of तात्पर्य, and that is what is your intention of sharing that particular kind of knowledge. Then he is talking about arthapatti, or implication is reduced to inference in Nyaya philosophy. Arthapatti or implication is an important factor in Mimamsa school. They recognize arthapatti implication to be a totally a different domain of knowledge, and you will see the debaters or a lot of criticism coming from Mimamsa school against Nyaya philosophy. Nyaya philosophers tell no, arthapatti we are including because it's a tool of inference, which is nothing but the logical reasoning. So we would like to include it. However, the manner Mimamsakas discuss about it is totally a different one. Abhav is reduced either to perception or inference. Abhav, again, absence of something gives you another form of knowledge, has been discussed very nicely with Mimamsa. And whereas in Nyaya philosophy, we say that if something is existing, it is included under perception, that is pratyaksha. However, absence of it, why should I come up under a different? This is how they argue. However, Mimamsaka's discussion is very, very different. Then comes comparison or upamiti, which is, I would say a very beautiful concept again. And this one, comparison, you will see Mimamsa separates it out as a separate school, not so school, I would say as a different source of knowledge, that is prama for them. Whereas in Nyaya, it is not. Comparison is the knowledge of the relationship between word and its denotation. Remember now, the bells should ring to you. When we are talking about comparison, please make a note in your notebooks that yes, when we are talking about comparison or upamiti, we are talking about reference in context of frege, denotation in Russell, because the paper itself is on denoting. And when we come to Austin, we all know that he is talking about again word and how it is being referred to, because he comes directly in that lineage of Frege, Russell, and all those philosophers. So again, remember this point. Now I have given to you so that it is there. Now Shabd, now remember this, words now comes in your Austin. Now, denotation, I would say both Frege and Russell do focus on words also. However, the way they are talking about words in terms of sense, word in terms of reference, and by the time you come to Russell, denotation is very different. The moment you arrive to Austin, you have seen how well he distinguishes and the manner in which he gives you the complete list of words as to how to categorize them and takes the help of the grammar. Now comes in your Nyaya school, wherein you will see Shabd, it means it is a source, and it is also means for what? It is called a Shabd. And Shabd as a source of valid knowledge is Agam. And that's the reason we have a lot of agamas as a source of knowledge. And we all know what those agamas are. The statement of a trustworthy person. Now, you see, if I'm going to a school, now, this literally happened when I visited Mysore, and this was Chamunda temple, is very famous temple over there, and my mother really wanted. We arrived very early, and the temple opens around 5:30, 5 o'clock in the morning on the Chamunda hill. So, we were thinking, what should we do? Then, 3 to 5:30, 2.5 hours sitting in a car was like a madness for us. So, right opposite to that Chamunda hill, there was this beautiful ashram of Swamiji, one of the Swamijis, and we took, I said, okay, let us go and stay there for one day, and we can, visit the temple on the hilltop, and then we can come back here and we can stay. And trust me, early in the morning, this was in one of the rooms, where I was there, and early morning around 4:30, I could hear all small children laughing together. I could hear the sounds coming in. Then, because I love children a lot, I just rushed outside to see, how come at 4:30 in the morning and all the children are so active and they're laughing so much. And it was like a surprise for me. I saw all small boys, in the age of around 4 to 8 years, not more than that, in the dhoti, wearing the janevus and with that podi, and they were running from one corner to the other corner because they wanted to halt. They were taking the seats and they were given, because that school was known for giving the Vedas, the knowledge of Vedas. And then I saw, the entire thing. I saw the teacher sitting again, and he was reciting continuously one line after the other line, and all these kids who were there were around 1,000 kids who were there in that ashram, and I could see all of 1,000 sitting in a circular. So you can imagine that. I don't have the photograph with me. I wish I could have captured it, and I could see the way. So that is the importance of the agamas, which are the text and the manner the Vedic knowledge is being shared from one generation to the other generation, so that they can go ahead. And the statement of the trustworthy person, all these 1,000 kids were able, and that is the aptavyakya. We go ahead and we really trust that person, whatever the person is telling us, and we rely on that. Now that is where the entire Shabda discussion, which is going to take place with help of Spota, and we will see those things also. Next one comes in for us is causation. Now here you will see that causation is defined as a cause is defined, as an unconditional and invariable antecedent of an effect. Okay, and an effect as an unconditional and invariable consequent of a cause. Now this is how they define causation, which is again the causation that you will be seeing in the Western philosophy, that yes, how the things are moving from cause to effect, effect to cause is very, very different. And here the manner they are talking about, the same cause produces the same effect, and the same effect is produced by the same cause. How can that be possible? Okay, now there are few essential characteristics of cause, and what are they? Purva vritti. Now, these things have not been given to us when Austin is discussing about entailment, conditionals, implications, and all. Now here comes in the other things, that is the difference between Austin's text as well as the Nyaya school is that Austin jumps into the conclusion, takes it for granted that yes, entailment, consequences, conditionals, and the entire list that we have seen goes step by step in that manner. However, here the causation. They are talking about the conditionals, entailments, and everything in terms of causation, and that is the contribution of the Nyaya school. So here they have given you characteristics of cause, which is missing in Austin. Now here he distinguishes purvavritti, nityata purvavritti, and ananyatha siddha. So these are the various things that are available to us, and hopefully let's see how the things go about later on. Let me just complete it, and then I will jump in for something else. Nyaya definition of a cause is the same as that of the Western inductive logic. Now here I have not been able to highlight it, so here I go and I'm making it completely so that you do remember. Hume defines cause as an invariable antecedent. Before Hume, we don't see many philosophers giving us. It was Hume in his book, Understanding of the Human Treatise, discusses about this one. Nyaya believes in the teleological creation like Vaiseshika. Now, I wouldn't say like Vaiseshika. Nyaya comes in first, and then Vaiseshika talks about metaphysics, ontological things, and that's why they have given that yes, it's a teleological creation for each and everything, whatever they are discussing. So material cause of this universe are depending upon earth, water, fire, and air. And if you remember here, just see, this is the discussion which you can find in Vishwanath Bhatt's book also, Nyaya Siddhanta Muktavali. And here they start off with this one, that is the categories, similarities and divergence among the categories, causality and the three kinds of causes, superfluity and its five varieties, similarities, divergence amongst the substances, and here they have given you as to how these things are taking place. So this is something that you should remember about this. Efficient cause is God. Now connect your philosophy of religion, and you can give the argument depending upon perception, inference, and everything, and logically. Remember that Nyaya school is giving you the argument in favor of God, existence of God, as an efficient cause, and that's why it is called as teleological argument in Western philosophy of religion itself. And here you can go ahead and you can develop the teleological argument as given to you from the side of Nyayikas. You can pick up the book again, C.D. Sharma, and you will be able to see. Nyaya advocates atomism, reason being that yes, here they are distinguishing all these things: earth, water, fire, air, ether, time, soul, all these things, and these are all the categories for them which they are discussing. Then comes spiritualism. Definitely yes. Now I wouldn't say spiritualism is like something mysterious or something. It means that nature of soul, atma, and all those things. Theism, because they believe in God. Realism, which we have already discussed. Pluralism also. Why pluralism? Otherwise the atomic theory fails. So each one of them you will see that are interconnected, and the manner they are taking care of it. Creation is through combination of atoms. Destruction is means of dissolution of these combinations itself. And later on, we will even see that in their view of causation, a Satkaryavad is something which is very popular. And here they are talking about different combinations of atoms which are regarded as new creations. So creation is not somewhere outside existing. They say that it is existing, and because of these atoms which are present to us in different categories, you come up in the form of the creations, a real fresh beginning. So this view implies that effect does not pre-exist in the nature, and that's why they call it as a new beginning called as Arambha Bhava. I should say even Vad also I'll add it, and then they are giving you entirely the argument for what I call it as for the creation. Soul, a real knower, real enjoyer, real active agent, and an eternal substance. Now, you see, in philosophy of religion, when you're reading, there are certain characteristics which has been given, assigned to God also. Now, think about that. Now, what is God and how the soul has been defined out here? Nyaya concepts accepts the metaphysics of Vaiseshika also side by side. So this gives you a real, I should say, basis, foundation for understanding the Nyaya philosophy for us. And going forward, I think all of us who are present in this particular team right now, we can go ahead and we are able to understand that yes, there are certain things which are existing for us, and maybe in another, I don't know when is the next class for me, at what time, 12:50 if I'm not wrong. Another minute to go, and I would appreciate that all the students, if you can join me up very quickly, because I would like to start off with the text on John Bentaki right now, given this basis for you. This I will be sharing the sheet that I have prepared via mail by the time you people join me up also. So I'm going to end the meeting right now. Join me up in the next class. Okay, and then I'll be discussing something else. Till then, thank you. Bye.